Thank you.
I call the Honourable Member Louisa Wall. Kia ora.
Kia ora, Mr Chair. Thank you very much for the opportunity to contribute to the debate. My supplementary order paper really wants to put children at the heart of policy. My community of Manurewa has over 30 off-licence liquor outlets, but within the context of the Greater Manukau, and it's great that I've followed on from my colleague Sir William Seal, we have 494 liquor licences. We have 181 off-licence facilities, and unfortunately for our community, we fit a lot of the profile that my colleague Kevin Haig was talking about. In terms of the demography of my electorate, we have 14 decile 1 schools, we have 9 decile 2, we have 4 decile 3. So of the 29 schools in my electorate, 27 are either decile 1, 2 or 3. And that really is at the heart of my SOP, which was about enabling communities to self-regulate, but from a clean slate. The reason that my SOP came to be was because just before Christmas, the Myers Road Superette applied for a liquor licence. Myers Road Superette lies between 2 schools, Manurewa East and Green Meadows Intermediate. The communities were so enraged by the fact that there was an application for a liquor licence that they leafleted all the homes in the suburb, which is part of the Manurewa electorate, and we had 400 submissions from members of that community opposing that liquor application. So I want to take this opportunity to commend the leadership of Phil Palfrey, who is the principal of Manurewa East, of Kathy Chalmers, who is the principal of Green Meadows, and also Colleen Brown, a member of the local board, who holds the portfolio of alcohol. And for us, it was an opportunity to mobilise the community that actually didn't need much motivation to get them mobilised in terms of writing a submission. They had 20 days. And I guess the process for us was one, because of when the application was made, tried to subvert the opportunity for our Manurewa community to have a say in the issuing of that off-licence application, or that off-licence licence for that superette to sell alcohol. The experience of our community has been that communities can make a difference, and that communities want to ensure that our children grow up in an environment where they can grow and develop in a positive way. And so the SOP about banning off-licence premises within 1k of a school is very much a recognition that our schools are our learning, nurturing centres for our children, and the immediate environment around our schools need to be protected. Where did the 1k come from? Actually, I wanted it to be a bit further. 3k would have been good, but the reality is children who live within a k of school actually walk to school. And my contention is, and I'm sure the contention of the House, is that alcohol is a product that should be consumed by adults only. There is no place in the life of a child for alcohol. And what really concerns me is that our children who do walk to school, who stop in on the local superette on their way to school, are going to have to be confronted with alcohol in their environment, normalised. You're going to have kids who are going to be buying fruit, pies probably too, lollies, but alcohol is going to become, and has become, a normal part of children's lives. And I think that we should seriously think about starting from a clean slate, because what my SOP will ensure is that the current licences will continue to the point that they need to be renewed, but within a context of the local alcohol policies being created, which is very much about the community regulating off-licence liquor outlets. And I can't see any reason why this House would not endorse and support the idea of our children growing up in environments where alcohol isn't a normal part of that environment for our children. I do want to highlight some research, because The SOP was very much a response to the local community, and I'm sure my colleague Cam Calder, who's also based in Manurewa, will talk about our Manurewa Youth Council and the fact that the Manurewa Youth Council has endorsed my SOP. Mr Chair? Mr Chair? Mr Chair?
I call the Honourable Member Lewissa Wall.
Thank you, Mr Chair. But also for our Manurewa Youth Council, alcohol has been identified as a pollutant. It's a toxic substance that is an incredibly pervasive commodity in our communities. It is responsible for a lot of family violence. It is responsible for a lot of damage to property. It is responsible for a lot of negative consequences. And so for our Manurewa Youth Council, and I'd like to commend Simeon Brown and his team, for them, we have to provide our communities with the tools so that they can regulate alcohol and off-licence premises out of our communities. But what I wanted to highlight was a report titled The Impacts of Liquor Outlets in Manukau City. And one of the primary researchers in this piece of research, which was funded by the Alcohol Advisory Council of New Zealand, now the Health Promotion Agency, was Dr. Michael Cameron, who's a social, and there were a team of them. He's an economist. There was a social scientist, Dr. Bill Cochrane, Dr. Craig Gordon from the Health Promotion Agency, along with Dr. Michael Livingston from the Turning Point Alcohol and Drug Centre in Melbourne. And essentially what they found was there is a density of liquor outlets in communities in South Auckland. And it is because our communities are seen to demand alcohol. For whatever reason, there are stresses in our community that enables the retailers to set up because there's a demand in our community. So they are targeted, you're absolutely right, and I guess there's a chicken and egg argument about does the density of outlet then ensure that that demand is ongoing, which is part of the issue about ensuring that our children are protected. We can't normalise alcohol in communities that already have high levels of family violence, as I talked about before. So one of the critical things that I wanted to highlight from this piece of research was some research about a media review. So there had been 438 articles identified by Dr. Cameron and his group. And one of the, from the stories that they were able to focus on, liquor outlets and the density of liquor outlets are a huge problem. And so the three main themes emerged from the research that they did. So there's a dominant view from the community and from the media that there were too many liquor outlets, that there were various concerns about the distribution of outlets, that they were clustered in areas of deprivation, and that such clustering promotes price competition, longer opening hours, and both of those increase the consumption of alcohol. The third point that they wanted to highlight was that locating outlets near schools is particularly problematic. And so there is evidence from this research that Michael Cameron and the University of Waikato team have conducted that say that actually our children need to be protected from alcohol. And I also wanted to highlight the child-friendly cities sort of framework, which is a framework for action. And it is really about guaranteeing the rights of our children and young people. And so our children should be protected from exploitation and abuse. Child-friendly cities aim to improve the lives of children, and we really do need to recognise the rights that young people have to grow up in an environment where that environment isn't densely populated with liquor outlets, because by normalising liquor outlets to communities like the ones that I represent, that my colleague Sir William Seal represents, and in fact that you represent, Mr Chair, it makes it very difficult for us to transform the lives of young people who are already growing up in socially, economically deprived families. So to compound the lives or the life opportunities of young people who are growing up already in a context of material deprivation, to put liquor outlets into that context, I think it's an ethical issue for this House. As legislators, one of the things that we should do is do no harm. And from what I can see, I think that our liberalisation of alcohol laws historically has done huge harm.
I call the honourable member Cam Calder.
Thank you very much.